noise? What the fuck is this? Started when I was 19 in my first year of university. Even though that sucked, even though that was damn embarrassing, that put a fire under our asses. The biggest game changer we have ever had in business. All right, guys, let's have a late night heart to heart. Let's get in the truck. It is a great evening to be part of the Dirt Life. My name is James, and no, it is not 2 a.m. outside. It is actually 7:30 p.m. It just gets dark so quickly. But I thought for today's video, we would take a stroll, nice drive in the twilight, and talk about what I think has actually been the biggest game changer we have ever had in business. I've owned a lawn care company for 10 years now. Started when I was 19, right in my first year of university. And over the past 10 years, the first 5 years was about figuring out what we're good at, you know? Doing all the different services, landscaping, window washing, lawn mowing, fertilizer, weed control, all these things. Then after we picked our niche, which was fertilizer and weed control, the next 5 years we're going all in on that. So we do about 2.1 million in gross revenue, and we are gearing up for 2024 to do about $3 million. If you're new to the Dirt Life channel, welcome. If you own a lawn care company, welcome. If you're thinking about starting a company in the home service industry, welcome. We make these videos because we're documenting our journey to becoming Canada's largest lawn care company. So in today's video, we're going to be going over the 3 biggest game changers I've ever experienced in a decade of business. And if I'm going to attribute anything to where we've gotten so far, I would have to narrow it down to these 3 things if I had to do it. So number 1 would be mentorship. Mentorship is where there is a mentee and a mentor. There is someone that has done it or someone that has helped others do it, and there is you that is aspiring towards something. So a long time ago, it's actually not that long ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, we found this guy on YouTube. I'm not gonna tell you his name, but we found him on YouTube, and he was doing a presentation to his lawn care company where he was talking about the culture, and he was talking in a hotel about the type of company they're aspiring to be. And I noticed right away how captivated everybody in the audience was to this guy. And after we watched that video, we're like, man, we need to meet this guy. So we actually found him on LinkedIn. We sent him a message, and he replied. And we asked for an hour of his time over Zoom to hear his story and share a little bit about ours, and he said yes. So there we go, we met him over Zoom, and it was such an amazing call that we actually had the audacity to ask him if he would be our coach, if he'd be our mentor. And you know what? He said yes. We did a mentorship relationship for about a year, and it completely changed our business because so often we are always trying to figure it out. Have you ever had that before, where you're going through all these problems, all these risks, and you're thinking to yourself, man, these things suck, these are so unique. But truth is, business has been around for a long time. The lawn care industry has been around forever. There are so many people that have gone through the same bullshit that you have. And it's a mistake to think that you're the only guy that ever experienced these kind of things. So that mentorship was so powerful for us because he accelerated the process. He was the catalyst to which we grew. He literally he told us what to do. He said, hey, you get your clients to prepay between these months and these months, and you do a continuous service, an auto renewal with your services. You don't have them restart every year. And you do this service and this service and this service, and you don't do that service and that service. And this is how you do customer service. This is how you do your sales. This is how you do your flyers. This is how you build an organizational chart. He taught us those things. And it was through that mentorship that we were able to learn those kind of things, because could we figure out on our own? Maybe, but it would have taken decades, it would have taken years. And there was an individual that was able to tell us that in a series of a few sessions. So mentorship, find somebody that has done what you've done. Now, there's a lot of people on YouTube that they'll tell you all this advice, oh yeah, do this, but they haven't actually done it. And in a perfect world, not only have they done exactly what you've done, they've helped others achieve what you want to achieve. That is the best kind of mentor. This guy not only had done it himself, but he had also helped about, I think about 8 other lawn care companies get to the level they wanted. And he was running a $10+ million company. I think at one point he had about 35,000 lawn care clients. So he was killing it, and having that mentorship helped us so much. So biggest game changer in the decade of business is definitely mentorships. The second game changer that I've experienced the past decade of business has been peer groups. This is sort of like taking the one-on-one mentorship and making it more of a collective, making it more of a group setting. So what happened 2 years ago is that we got into a peer group where we were the smallest guys in the room. You know, we were the smallest fish in the pond. And it's kind of funny. When we first went into it, we thought we had our shit figured out. We thought we were doing some pretty good stuff. All of a sudden, there's guys that have a $10 million company, $8 million company, several people that had $4 million lawn care companies, and we felt like shit. And we looked at our numbers, and they went through our profit and loss statement line by line and said, boys, what the fuck is this? What the fuck? And it was true. It was bad. And we needed somebody else to go through it with us to show us how bad it actually was. And even though that was painful, even though that sucked, even though that was damn embarrassing, that put a fire under our asses. We wanted to show those guys, you know what, you're laughing at us. Next time we come back in, you're not gonna be laughing at us. And the first time we were there, we was in Florida, we went, they're all laughing at us going through the stuff. We met the next 6 months later in Banff, which is like an hour away from us in Canada. They came up to us and they were still laughing at us. But the next meeting, we actually made some big changes. We took the recommendations. They told us to shut down Red Deer and Edmonton. They told us to focus and really dial in on our numbers. And that was a game changer for us. And they stopped laughing because we actually listened to their advice. And now I feel like we're actually we're at the same point in the peer group now. We're still one of the smaller groups, but my number one tip for getting into a mentorship or a peer group is that try to be the smallest fish in the pond, because you will inevitably grow. You are the average of the 5 people you hang around. And if you start taking all this advice from these 5 people that are bigger than you in business, you will grow. There wasn't one guy that sold watches, one guy that sold granola bars, and one guy that sold lipstick. Everybody was in lawn care, and it was so relevant, and you could actually get into things that mattered, because some people give you business advice that actually might be good advice, but it's not true to you because they're not in your industry, they're not in your space, and it doesn't apply to you. So if you can find a way to get into a peer group, jump on Facebook, jump on LinkedIn, jump on YouTube, and find people that you want to be in a group with and send them a message. If you can't find a peer group, start one and say, guys, I think it'd be great for us to start up on a monthly forum where we all have access to posting things, like on Basecamp, for example. We're gonna meet twice a year in person at varying destinations, sometimes at the different people's, they'll host us essentially, and we're gonna meet together, we're gonna talk business. I'm not in your area, we're not competing with each other, so let's spill all the dirty secrets. Let's share everything that's working for me, because that's gonna help you, and you're gonna share things that are working for you, that are gonna work for me. And because I'm not 30 minutes away from you, I'm 30 hours away from you, we're not competing with each other. So let's actually get through this together to figure out how we're going to learn things. Peer groups, guys, have completely changed our business because it has shaved off decades and years of time from people sharing their mistakes and looking at our business with a fine-tooth comb, going through it and saying, do this, don't do this, don't do this, stop doing that, what the hell, no, stop, yeah, keep doing that. Has been huge. And that leads me into the third and final game changer, guys. And by the way, if you're getting some good value from this YouTube video, please give us a subscribe. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I'd love it if you could jump on and help us make that happen. Really appreciate that. So the third and final game changer that I've experienced in the past decade of business has been knowing your numbers. The peer group actually really helped us figure that out, because we didn't know our numbers. People, they would ask us questions like, so guys, on an annual basis, what's the gross revenue you bring in per truck? So guys, what's your gross profit? Guys, what's your net profit? What's that? Like, it makes me cringe at how bad we were actually at this stuff. But there's a good Chinese proverb that says something like, if you're ever gonna get good, you have to start off as bad. You need to figure out, how do you attribute your revenue, your production? You have to go through your profit and loss line by line and attribute revenue. So you have one line for mowing, you have one line for fertilizer, you have one line for weed control, you have one line for chinch bugs, you have one line for aeration. You have to know what these revenues are so that you can attribute it to a percentage of the total revenue. And then the expenses are the same thing. If you're looking at your gross expenses, so like your costs of goods sold, you need to be looking at your gasoline, you have to be looking at your uniforms, you have to be looking at your wages, your direct labor wages, guys. This can kill you if you don't understand it properly. What actually kills most lawn care companies is the overhead, those things that happen on a monthly basis, whether you're doing work or not. So what are you paying for your rent? What are you paying for your salaries in the office? What are you paying for your insurance? What are you paying for your Wi-Fi? What are you paying for your car payments? Like, all those things will kill your business if you don't know it. And what you don't know will hurt you. And you're just gonna be making decisions that you're pulling out of your ass because you don't have the actual information that you need to know how to make a proper decision. Business is a game of numbers. There's a great book called The Great Game of Business, which is kind of what led into this whole journey of knowing our numbers. Definitely give that book a listen or a read if you want to understand a little bit more about what the importance of numbers are. But make sure that everyone in the company has numbers, but you need to know what your profit and losses are. You need to know what a statement of cash flows is. The three big things, guys: profit and loss, balance sheet, statement of cash flows. There's 1,000 YouTube videos out there that can explain them. It's a little bit tricky to understand them. The best book I ever found was called the Lemonade Stand. I'll put a link in the description below for this Lemonade Stand book that talks about, it's gives you real life examples as if you were writing a lemonade stand, and makes accounting simple. So definitely check that one out. So guys, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I always like doing these drives in the middle of the night, talking about business, a little bit of a rant there too. I can't stress enough though, stay tuned for next week's video coming out on Tuesday at 5 p.m. We got Steve Wheatcroft in the house on The Dirt Life talking about his journey of building a $100 million lawn and snow maintenance company. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one. Dirt Life!